Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. So right now we are going to go over propagating. So we're not going to do like the whole cutting thing first. I'm basically going to show you what to look for when you are officially ready to go from water or leca or sphagnum moss to soil. So I'm going to kind of go through and show you the length that the roots should be or the length that the roots could be. We're going to be working with a prickly pear variegated cactus, regular ZZs, Raven ZZs, Cylindrica snake plant, and then also, I don't know if these are ready yet, but we're going to check these Mican philodendrons as well. So the first thing that I'm going to start with is this prickly pear cactus because I know that it is ready. I'm not sure if you can see the roots from here, but I'll come up closer as well and show you the roots. So this plant right here is very easy to propagate. All you have to do with this is break it off of the main plant or cut it off. You'll let it callus for about, I would say anywhere between an hour to 4 hours. Then you'll just stick it in water. Sometimes you could even just leave it out in the air and it would get roots that way. But I like to put them in water. I feel like it works a little bit faster. Your roots will either come out of the bottom or out of one of the little spots that the spike would be otherwise. So you have a few options of getting it. But I recommend whenever you're repotting or potting up a cactus, you do use cactus soil. We just so happen to sell cactus soil, so that's what I'm going to use today to pot up this prickly pear. But I'm going to go ahead and get a pot. So this is the only time that I would recommend watering your cactus more than once a month. So when it comes to acclimating your cactus from water to soil, it's just like any other plant. You need to keep your soil wet a little bit longer, that way it's able to acclimate from water to soil and your roots don't just dry off and break off and you have to start over again. So basically, like I said, we're gonna have the cactus soil. This plant here could go into a 1-inch or a 2-inch pot. However, it's very top heavy, so it's just not gonna work. So you will need to have a pot that's a little bit bigger. So basically this is what it's gonna look like when it's potted. So like I always say, we're gonna go ahead and put 1 inch of soil in first, then we're gonna add the pot, and we're going to add soil around it. And as always, like I say, hold your plant, that way you're able to put it exactly where you want it, and that way your roots are floating in the soil. Alright, so we got this potted. Now I'm going to go ahead and give it some water. You do want to make sure that you fully saturate the soil after you repot it. That way, again, it's able to acclimate from water to soil. I'm going to use the same water it came out of. What fully saturate means is you want to make sure that every article of soil has been moistened. So it could take a few pours, especially if you're not sure what type of soil you have or how loose your soil is. Sometimes your water will just go straight through. So you want to make sure you give it a few waterings if you're not sure. If you know your soil, what you're using, you're fine. But if you don't know, I do recommend highly that you give it a few waterings just to be sure that the soil is fully saturated. So this guy is fully saturated. It's nice and wet and I can squeeze water out of the bottom. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the Raven ZZ, which Raven ZZ is just the black version of the regular ZZ. So we have quite a few stems here, and we're going to see how many are ready. So yes, you can propagate ZZ plants. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are ready for soil, and I'm going to give you a close-up now. Well, first off, I lied. It's only 4. But I don't know if you can see, but here are the roots. So I'm not completely sure if these guys will be okay in this 2-inch pot. They may be a little top heavy, but we're going to go ahead and try it. But first I'm going to go ahead and add these other Raven ZZs back to the water to let them continue rooting. Some of them have some roots, not enough for me to be comfortable putting them in soil, however. When it comes to the Raven ZZs, they'll be okay with just regular potting soil. If you want to use like an aeroid mix or something, you definitely can, but you definitely don't have to. So like always, fill it up 1/2 inch to 1 inch of soil at the base. Then we're going to go ahead and add the stems, stalks, whatever you want to call them. So it should be okay. Once I get water in it, it'll be a little bit heavier too. So we're going to go ahead and sweep this mess up, and then we're going to go ahead and water it. Okay, so just like the cactus, we're going to go ahead and fully saturate the soil. And also, just like the cactus, I'm going to use this water as well. I just actually cleaned out all the water, which is why I knew what needed to be potted. And then that's it. I'll go ahead and give this guy water probably once a week for like 3 weeks. And then I'll start letting this one dry out and the cactus and only water it once a month. But they do have to get acclimated from being wet all the time to being in soil. And it takes anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks for that process to fulfill or take effect. Now the next thing I'm going to do is essentially show you guys that you're able to also propagate snake plants without having to cut them up and put them in water. So I've already separated this, so I'm just going to show you what the stems look like when they're taken apart. So here are 2 stalks or stems that I got out of there, and I'm going to go ahead and pot these up. So these guys will already have roots on them, and they'll have some babies as well. So these guys here can actually just go straight into soil. Sometimes their babies will be in the way, so you may have to break them off or get a larger pot. These babies are actually fine, so I can go ahead and leave them connected. Just like the ZZ plant, I'm going to go ahead and use regular soil. And the good thing with this plant is I won't have to keep it wet. I can treat this one as if I just got a brand new plant in because it's already acclimated to soil. Okay, and then just like that, we have 2 pots of the Cylindrica snake plant. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of repotting propagations, and rather it's from water to soil or soil to soil. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of pretty much how to get started and the basics. I will have a video as well on how to actually propagate things in terms of cutting them, where to cut, how long down from the stem to root to cut, how long they'll go in water, and so forth. But that's the end of this episode. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait for you to see the next one. Thank you.